And I think those kinds of self moments are really worth.
9:15, right? Okay. Ready? Go for it.
All right, good morning again. I'd like to call to order the Scarborough Economic Development Corporation annual meeting on September 18th, 2025. The first item is a vote to accept and report the annual report and accept that, approve that, and to send that to the town council. Karen, do you want to say anything before we?
Sure, it's pretty straightforward. It's a lot of the same material that we covered last year because it's got the mission and then board of directors. The board of directors will change starting in January, adding you guys back in. And so yeah, it's just a listing of our activities. I'm sure I've left some things out, but I think it's a fair representation of the types of things that we do. And it gives us a chance to put together in one place all these little activities that we do on an ongoing basis, and that all take time to keep up. And then one thing I do want to highlight is we have launched a new website. So it's been refreshed. Magda has been working on this for the last year. So it looks great. We certainly have more things that we can do to fill in, but it's there for you guys to explore. It's launched now, and give us any feedback when you start using it in the next week or so. We want to try to get any kinks out by October. But I think that's one of the significant, pieces of really refreshing that website, which is the heart and soul of what we do here.
Anyone have any questions for Karen about the report?
It's a really wonderful report.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it
for
really
your
is.
work.
It is.
Yeah, thank you for your work.
And done well.
The website looks fantastic.
Yeah, I really like how you segmented it, community building,
Mhm.
policy analysis, intelligence tracking. And
Mhm.
my personal favorite is Scarborough by the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I meant to add this year, like how it goes up or down from last year, but I ran into some technical difficulties. So that will be an addition that we'll make so that by the numbers, you can see, hey,
What if you do a simple dashboard?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
green, yellow, just in terms of
that,
compared to past.
yes, that's what I was trying to do. And then some bad things happened in the file. So I backed out from right now. But I will add that we'll.
What's the plan of dissemination of this information?
So after the board accepts it,
Mhm.
I will forward on your behalf to the council, so they'll receive it. And then for those who register in the for the annual meeting, they'll receive it directly, and then we'll have it posted on the homepage of our website.
Will it be on the town's website
It
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
or maybe an electronic digital
Right.
version of it?
Newsletter, does it go out in the newsletter?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
wondering about the
it
town
can-
newsletter, or maybe a link to the newsletter. Yeah.
If we could make some
Can I post
great
this to
key
LinkedIn?
individual graphics,
There's
just
no.
Yeah.
social media,
Yep.
one a day. or-
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
By the
Karen, I can
numbers.
post this to my LinkedIn, couldn't I, if I wanted to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you send an electronic
Yep.
version of, is this what you sent us was the final
You
copy?
send us the final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, you sent a draft.
I
Yeah.
sent draft because I
Yeah.
wanted it to be drafted,
Yeah.
until you guys vote for it.
If you can send it out as an
Yeah.
electronic, then we can
Yep.
share it, or send us the link once
Okay.
it's on the town and we can share the link.
Okay,
That might even be better to
Sure.
get people to go onto the town site.
absolutely.
Move acceptance.
Seconded.
all in favor? All right.
I think the numbers that are, some of this highlights, but also the numbers need to be shared publicly. I think people, to our prior conversation, these are the kinds of things that I don't think people know. And they're hearing maybe a different side of this. So, I think some of the,
With the local magazine Scarborough Living, could this
Yeah.
be published as an addendum?
mm,
I think it can be on their website. I don't think it could be inserted. It's a little probably too big, but we can do an article on
What
it.
we'll do, we're now paying for an insert, we have a 4 or 5 page, full page. We'll certainly include an article link, so it will be available as part of the publication through
Yep.
our piece.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
It'll be nice to link everything to our website
Yep.
because we want to promote our website.
exactly.
Mhm. Whatever, whichever.
And I, you know, getting back, you know, not to go back, because I know we're gonna talk more about it, remember, but like. I don't mean to, say that. That opposition, you know, that 150 people there were the only people, you know, that feel this way, but I do think that there's. A lot of people in Scarborough who don't feel that strong, you know, who aren't, who don't share that opinion. I think a lot of times people who are against something are the ones that show up
Right.
more often or more vocal.
Mhm.
And I still don't think that it speaks for the whole town.
We're gonna test that a little more thoroughly. We're going out for a third community survey next month. This will be the third in 5
Oh,
years.
good.
Yeah.
And there are certainly questions and
Good.
you see, you know, good feedback in the past and I expect the same will be true. So this is a statistically valid survey sent randomly to residents. So I think it's a better representative sample of the community. So,
I have my furnace guy coming late morning. I guess he gets up about 2. I've got to get the bus, so I apologize.
Okay, Kevin, I want to leave in 10 minutes too.
So I'll see you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you as always.
did you get an autograph for your book?
Yeah.
I'll leave it with you, and if you could leave it with Karen, maybe.
Yes, and Travis, I've got
Ooh, that's
2
a
more books.
well-known
I know.
cover.
I think
We're all
I
gonna have
have
you.
an answer for you for.
It made my summer.
You need to come to Piper Shores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we.
No,
They
Those
were
are-
trying to
Yeah.
highlight local authors.
Yeah.
And we are not done with the meeting
Anyway.
yet.
It's tough when you have a celebrity.
Yes.
It's tough when you have a celebrity.
You want-
when you're-
True.
Can I just add, that I think growth in general, on a microcosm, at Piper Shores, we're talking about growth, and there's a lot of unease and fear about what does that mean? How does it affect me? So I think it's not just
Right,
Scarborough, the town. I think it can happen with other businesses and so we're trying to talk them through what does growth mean, what it doesn't necessarily, mean that we're gonna take over, large swath of land and do all of that. I think it just the residents just need to understand what it can mean, and I think that that's almost a very similar approach to the town of Scarborough.
right,
Sure.
right.
And it
Change
does,
start, whatever.
Yeah.
it is. And so when someone creates fear about it, then that can spread very quickly
Absolutely.
and it's not, we're not invalidating that, but I think we can at least show what it can look like and what it means.
Do want us to think in all the things that we do, I think we have to understand information can help, but it really doesn't change hearts and minds.
Mhm.
And so we have to focus on just what you said.
Mhm.
What is getting people to articulate what is their underneath the information, what is their fear and what is their concern.
What would you say that it is? What is the fear?
I think change is one thing. Town is changing. It doesn't look like it did 20 years ago, but every decade it doesn't look like it did 10 years ago.
4.5 billion people on this earth.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
There's 8 billion.
Yep, things are gonna look different.
Well, I mean, look, there's new, like Tom said, there's new apartment buildings. The racetrack is gone,
Mhm.
the motor, I mean,
Yeah.
one of my favorite posts, I'm saying this sarcastically, one of my favorite posts was from a business owner who was incredibly critical of the owner of the Beechridge that sold it and was just tearing him a new one online. And someone commented, "Oh, okay, so if someone tried to tell you what to do with your business, you'd be okay with that, you know, because he was basically
Mhm.
calling the guy
Right.
greedy for what he did, and he didn't comment, you know,
Right.
there was no response, and so. But I know that the person who was doing it was a native Scarborough, you know,
Mhm.
born here. I think the town looks a lot different,
Mhm.
and
So was the guy.
but the world is also different, you know? But I think the world is also different too, so it's not, you know, it's a lot is different, and I think it's easy to say it's. Because of all the new people, you know, I mean,
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is it the style of housing that people are upset about? Because I do remember back in the late, early nineties, the town was going crazy because they were putting up 4-bedroom colonials in every inch of the town.
Mhm.
And it was making the school system swell, and people, we were building new schools at that point, and people were yelling and screaming about that.
I don't have a good answer.
Yeah.
And
I
I,
think it's as simple as people have frustrations with things, traffic, school, losing their racetrack, things they love. And at the same time, they're seeing these 4-story things being built and they're just equating that as the cause of the problem instead of, you know, they're like, we have all these problems, why aren't we solving them before we're inviting all this new housing growth? And the growth might not be necessarily causing the problems, but that's what they see
Mhm.
as like, you're doing that, wherever this you is, instead of fixing this thing, that's gonna make this worse. And I think that that's just a natural,
Mhm.
that's a hard thing to break in people, is to seek a solution, or seek a root cause for the thing that's
Mhm.
frustrating them.
Mhm.
And Kelly, I'm sure you're right, that there's, this is like the 20-year itch, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
slightly
yeah.
different,
Mhm.
but, you know,
Yeah.
this is a constant conversation.
Mhm.
I think that there's, longtime residents, but also newcomers that probably have a similar concern. They come at it from a different perspective. The newcomers say, I left suburban Boston because I didn't want all that. I thought I was coming to a smaller, quaint coastal town. So I don't want to see that because I know where it can go. And then you have the other side, the longtime resident who, feels the same way for different reasons, right? That's not the Scarborough I grew up in.
Well, and I.
We're at this inflection
Yeah,
point, I think.
We are, and I also think that apartment buildings are transient people usually, they're not people that are joining the Setco board, they're not people that are investing in the community. And I think long-term residents look at them as interlopers, you
Yeah.
know, and they aren't necessarily welcoming to them, even though it's kind of short-sighted. Because not
One thing
everybody
I've always been
can
interested in, I don't know if we can, but I'd love to understand more about the demographics of folks that are in the
Yeah.
apartments. These are folks
Oh,
that
that
have the
was
means
really,
to support
you've
a
done
healthy
that
mortgage.
before,
Right,
yeah.
well,
what I was gonna say
It's
is,
a lifestyle choice as it is.
I think you were
necessity.
right
But they're
traditionally,
younger. They
but I
tend to
think
be
if you look
younger.
at. The housing, I mean, who can afford a house? I
Right.
mean, there's,
yeah.
to your
No,
point, I mean. The,
workforce housing, I
The-
mean, there's
no,
no,
people living in Scarborough
Most of us
apartments
in this
now
room
may
can't
not be.
afford the house we lived in.
No,
If we had to buy
no.
it today, we couldn't afford it, right?
Well, and it's just, I think, the point is that
We could
there,
sell
there
it.
might be longtime residents living in these apartments.
Yeah.
Because that's
that's how. what's
where the
happening.
housing, yeah.
Well, that's why we, like, the apartments across the street from our store, like those. It's all demographics, it's,
Mhm.
we've seen people in there we've been open 6 years, when they open, we've seen them. On a weekly or a monthly basis, so it's not,
You know their drink of choice.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, know their names, know their family,
Weekly
but
basis. wow.
it's,
That's why I mix it up and go to different stores.
You don't, you're not the norm.
I
Cheers.
think it's important and like I think it's only one place in totality to read. I think people like
Yeah.
living in that setup where they don't
Yeah,
have to worry.
they don't have to
about
wear a
their
house, they're
lawn,
gone.
this, I think.
Undoubtedly, people rent out of necessity, right?
Right.
But more and more, I think there's a lifestyle choice.
Yes.
The beacon that you're referring to, I know early on, there were two demographics. That was millennials that were doing it because they had the means to buy something, but they don't want to maintain a lawn. They value their free time to do something else. And on the other end, you get the boomers who sold the 4-bedroom colonial
Yeah.
and want to keep a foot in town, but like be a snowbird or want the ability to travel. And then of course you've got the people that are renting out of necessity as well. But those are $3,500 a month.
Can I still
Or
think
help.
real,
Yeah.
really quick, I need to run a, I just wanted to, one thing you said, facts don't always change hearts and minds. I'm not positive that anything we do is necessarily gonna change
Right.
hearts and minds, especially the, sort of the hardcore of that group. But I still think whether or not you're changing hearts and minds, it's important just to provide facts. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, so that's sometimes all you can do, and say the information that you're being.
That can be conversations
Yep.
around a fire with other people and say, hey, I just saw this article, about, I didn't know that, and,
But on your point of being able to ask the follow-up question and say, help me understand,
Yeah.
what is it about it? And I
It's-
think we'd be
huge.
wise to.
They start to stutter, oh, well, it's through the schools or the traffic. Well,
Yeah.
I lived for Route 1 since, we lived here and moved here in 2011. Traffic seems about the same to me,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, two things could be true. I bet if we're doing traffic counts now.
Yeah, I said,
Undoubtedly more traffic on Route 1 than there was at some point in our recent history. It could also be true that you can move through that corridor
fast,
equal to or faster than you could before.
right?
In fact,
and it's also not that everyone on
Visiting
Route 1
times
lives in
get-
Scarborough,
There's an
driving on Route
interesting-
1 doesn't live in Scarborough,
This is just my observation about the light organization along Route 1.
Yeah.
That's great. For everybody traveling along the Route 1 corridor.
of course,
The problem is,
Go to Lotto's.
if you have to get into that
It's called the
traffic,
residents.
and you just hit the light change.
Yeah.
Right, John?
But I mean, I was at that Little Dolphin the other day. I was
think you were
getting in for my, yeah, it would have been my aim. I couldn't believe how long the line of traffic was along Route 1, because I was, as I was trying to get out. And it doesn't matter where along Route 1 you are, if you're not at a signal, you'll wait.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
So that gives the appearance of more traffic.
Yeah.
To the local people, right? To the people going through, they think it's great.
Well,
I think it's great.
the other thing
Perception.
is managing expectations. Route 1 is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna create more volume, capacity by way
Florida.
of additional lanes.
Totally.
So
Here's,
this is about squeezing out efficiencies, right?
Yeah.
We're moving. And there's winners and losers, right? When someone has a green, someone else has.
yeah, the,
And
the thing that I have to ask though is, because I feel like I've seen this, but over the 30 years that I've been here now, the amount of housing obviously has gone up, but the salaries and stuff of the average in the town has changed dramatically. And I can't help but wonder when I try to come up Black Point Road in the morning around school time and see how many cycles of lights you gotta go through to get across Route 1. How much are we building internally? We think it's all these other people, but I wonder how many kids actually go to high school now and don't have their own car. You got a family, yeah, you got a family with 2 kids now. There are 4 cars in the driveway.
Yeah.
And we're building a lot of this traffic internally. It's not an external problem. I think it's more of an internal problem. We had at one point a study that showed 75% of the traffic on Route 1 was internal. Only 25% of the traffic going through Route 1 was actually just going from town to town.
I'm shocked at
It's-
that.
I was when I
Yeah.
heard that statistic, and that's the one reason why I remember.
part of that has to do with how successful Setco's been in creating
Mhm.
jobs. I think there's an
Right.
increasing number of
Yeah.
folks that live here and work here.
And,
Exactly.
Not
and
going to Portland.
On that
Exactly.
point, I do want to be mindful of our agenda. For that great transition. I think as John said, we could talk about this
Yeah.
issue all night. I'm glad we'll get a chance to again later in the fall, but let's, Karen, can you talk us through the strategic plan?
Sure. And I will say that this discussion of growth certainly helps identify the priorities. So I think we may have taken care of the next agenda item after this. So I went ahead and took our 1-page strategic plan and I tried to lay out some of the things that we've done. And this is just really for sort of our information and maybe where we need to continue to work, but we're sort of 5 years into the comp plan. So let's see where we are in some of these things. And I will say, like, each of these, except maybe maintaining the economic vision, each of these things are an ongoing process. So I don't know that we'll ever achieve them, but there are certain things that I think we're doing that fit under those topics and really should be crystallized. And what I think happens a lot is that we do the basics. Like, I think we've talked about key performance indicators before. We've got some key performance indicators in really the annual report. Probably really where we need to focus is, okay, here's where we were 3 years ago, and doing that progression that we've talked about and putting it up and making it more visible for people to see. I have to admit, now that we're going through and talking about giving information to the council, I have tons of analytical things that we just don't publish. We do it for our own purposes so we can see where things are, but we're not letting people know about it.
Mhm.
And I think that's really where we need to focus. Doing the economic vision, that's the work that we do with the chamber. We did an update. We presented it to the chamber and the board. So I think we're really on board with that. I think that's stable. Developing the intelligence system for decision makers. I think we've done a lot of work on that. The new website. We've got some new data systems that we're working with. We're starting to assess, I think the big project that we've identified for this year is the capacity analysis. And if we complete that, I think that will go a long way towards us helping out and understanding where we need to go. And that's including saying what industries make sense for Scarborough. And that's one of the things we've talked about, but we've not articulated something very specific, like saying, you know what, given our demographics, the amount of land available, and all of these things, here are the industries that best fit Scarborough. Doesn't mean that's all we're going to work with, but having an understanding of which industries best fit our available land or available resources and meeting with the town's values. And then, doing business communication, certainly we've done outreach to developers. We work with the town manager on the state of Scarborough reports, and perhaps that's one thing that we could do more. We do it every year, but we don't necessarily do a report from, this is what's changed from last year. And we could do that more specifically and be using that and distributing that across the board more in a bigger way. And then, we do the holiday guide, we do these other things that I think help with outreach. But what I think happens is we spend a lot of time doing and not a lot of time sending out. And that perhaps is one of the priorities that I think I would recommend we focus on. Capacity report, and then getting information out to people in a manner that doesn't coincide with us trying to build a case for something. So
Right.
that's where we fall down.
It's a branding, it's a consistent awareness.
We have been more and more intentional about that, because no one is ever gonna give us credit for what we're doing, so sometimes you have to take it, it's
Yeah.
not patting yourself on the back, it's taking the time to share the fruits. And you shouldn't be ashamed or shy to do
Take the
that.
ones.
I think it's an opportunity to showcase a new website as well
Right.
as that communication. I know I sent a message at one point, but from the small business owner side to tie into the new website, is there a way that Scarborough businesses can have access to post job openings
Yeah,
on there and try to drive people that way? 'Cause
Mm.
all the services out there have gotten pretty
Right.
expensive to
Oh my
use, especially
gosh.
for small businesses.
Right.
So if there's a way,
Yeah,
our new system allows people to do that. What we need is to get, but this is where we've got a system, but do people know about it?
right,
And
exactly.
that's where we fall
Yeah.
down.
If that piece can come in, that would be, I guess, speaking for me, and I'm sure for all the businesses in town, that'd be a huge, if there's an efficient way to get these jobs posted more. not necessarily free, but like in that, a more economical way.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's,
Yeah, that
That's
would be
great.
amazing.
yeah, and I think what we need, getting into specifics, but you know what, if we just did a simple button that says, hey, check local businesses for job openings, and then it takes us to the Blue Dot system where, you know, they can search for companies with job openings. Sometimes things are really simple, but making that last connection.
But you get to get that out to the businesses
Yeah.
too, so they use.
They use it and then the public uses it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we've been advertising in Scarville Living for the last couple of issues, advertising the system.
Are there other local specific components through the town's website or partners that we could be bundling these things with, so there becomes a sort of uniquely Scarborough online place? We can feed each other if we have job postings, but also, I don't even know what else.
Like Scarborough Marketplace.
Yeah, right, exactly. I wonder, I can think of us creating something kind of unique where it's genuinely our sort of town's online
Mhm.
central marketplace. I just wonder if there's opportunity for synergies,
Okay. Let me talk, I have a meeting with Chip, the library director, and I think that's a good topic for us to chew on.
You
So,
might
yeah.
discover, oh, wow, there's local job listings.
Right.
You went there to find library events,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah,
I'm also on the board of Kaler Vale, and I know that they have trouble, well, they didn't have trouble. Recently, they've had some turnover and they're trying to get
Mhm.
residents and they've never had to do that in the past.
Mhm.
They've always had a long waiting list and they are looking for some sort of medium to sort of advertise if they have
okay,
space available, and there really isn't anything. They're putting flyers at Hannaford and the library.
okay.
You get a vote for,
We don't, we can, but you can accept the strategic plan review if you like.
So move.
second? All in favor? Excellent work.
Excellent.
Priorities. So obviously growth is going to hover over everything, but I don't think growth conversations are our priority, correct? I mean, our conversation is what are our priorities and how do we operate within the conversation of growth that's gonna hover over them. So do we want to have a conversation now about what those priorities
Or save that for the
ought to
workshop.
be, or is that more of a workshop?
You can say that as long as people still are generally feeling like the capacity analysis that we've talked about is still an important thing. That's really one of the main things I just need to know to make sure we're allocating staff time correctly.
And I think communication.
Yep.
Like you said, I
Yeah.
think somehow sharing.
Yeah. A communication plan,
Yeah,
a more,
more-
a tighter,
a
more
detail.
articulated
Yeah.
communication plan.
Plan, yeah. And I think Alan was saying, or maybe it was Travis, someone over here, said, like, but by the numbers every day, online, or it's sort of like, how do we just keep up the facts, the information, even the good stuff.
Right. And putting in
Especially-
context for people,
especially
especially
the
the
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the celebrations.
Yeah.
And I do have to admit that one of the things I would say we should discuss in November, this idea of maybe having interviews of people from different perspectives, like a small business interview that talks about, what they see happening in town. And that's something that perhaps we could talk about with Allison, the town's communication director, because I think that would be useful to have people talk about what they're really feeling.
So my son goes to James Madison down in Virginia, and they posted this, so they, outside of one of their main centers, they had just a sign that says, what's something good about your experience here, or what's something good about JMU, and it was just a mic, and a camera, and students could just on their own come up and just, kind of share No,
But it's to be good.
it has to be good
Yeah.
and, but, you know, maybe there's an opportunity for people to be able to share, like, you know, we have a grateful board on our wall in our lobby for residents and staff to be able to write, what are they grateful for that week? But, you know, there's, to that sense of building community, it's like, there's no way to say, this is wonderful, or, you know, there's ways to complain. And people take that opportunity, but I think, that's why people do grateful journals, because the more you actually write how grateful you are, the more you seek out moments of gratefulness. And so that's, I think if we can, as a town, encourage, how do we become grateful and how do we celebrate?
You said Mel Robbins, haven't you?
What?
You sound like my wife, exactly. She does it every day religiously, and she swears by it.
Maybe the council could,
Well, you know, I
Yeah.
used to, when Parker was in school, I used to every day be like, tell me something funny that happened at school today. Cause you know, kids don't tell you anything about school. And that forced him to actually seek out funny things at school.
So,
So I think that, yeah, and I think that there's an opportunity. Again, you're gonna have your naysayers, but I don't know.
council,
something to-
start every council meeting with, tell us something good.
a little off topic, but I think it's still in line. One thing that we've been doing over the last couple of years with staff, and I think there's been some pretty good success, is our communications director will do a profile of one of our staff. It's kind of the day in the life. And inevitably, in the course of that interview, you learn a bit more about their personal life and maybe their hobbies and obviously what they do. So I wonder if there's something like that from a business profile point of view, just to give a little deeper insight.
Mhm.
Who the hell's Jim?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we don't know too much. Don't give up too many details.
I mean, we have what, 1,700 businesses, right? Or 1,500?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to do business
Mhm.
highlights before.
yes.
But really that kind of the human interest,
Yeah.
the personalized approach, I think is often well received.
Well, I have to admit, I always like our board bios, but not, like, the council doesn't have board bios up. And I've always thought that that would be helpful, knowing, not their opinions about things, but who they are.
Mhm.
Cause it
Yeah.
does help to understand their
It
opinions
does.
if you know.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think our board bios start out with, hey, this is what we do for a living,
Mhm.
but it ends with,
What's our
this is,
vision?
what's our
Okay.
vision for Scarborough?
Yeah,
I think the business highlight would be great, and I think it would also be great if we said, ask the business owner, why did you choose to open your business in Scarborough? Because that would be sort of an advertisement for other businesses to think about Scarborough. So what I'm hearing about the Downs is that they're not talking to local businesses, that they're making it so expensive that local businesses cannot open. I have two small business clients that have told me they would love to be there, but they're only talking to big national chains at this point.
And
so I.
Your response,
and-
Jim.
I just,
I kind of disagree with that, but I think that can be the perception. And so, because I think, I think that's not what I experienced, as an organization. I feel that they're very open to local businesses,
Meetings.
but the expense is so much.
to it, I think their price point is just unattainable.
So this.
So that doesn't help,
This
right,
business
that's
in
not
particular,
helping
Miss
the-
Mary, and she has a small business in Falmouth, she's
Mhm.
opening a small business in Portland, and she's spoken, and I love the Downs. So
Yeah.
It's not like I'm against the Downs, but I was
Yeah.
really surprised when she told me that the price point was such, because she's in an expensive space in Falmouth.
Yeah.
And she said the Downs was much more expensive.
So maybe that's some feedback.
Yeah.
To give.
How do you know when people are closing? Do you know that?
Always,
Oh,
Cause I
unless
was
it's really
just going to
visible.
Helen's point, would it be helpful to actually know why business leaves Scarborough? What is it that we're not providing for?
It's a tough one because people always want to tell you about their opening, but they don't really want to tell you about their demise and there's some big ones like Maine Bagel and things like that. I think I know the answer with Maine Bagel, but yeah, it's a good question.
I don't think anybody else would want to talk about that. That's something
Yeah.
that's.
yeah, I'm
I
not
think
sure
it depends.
Yeah.
too much.
I think it depends.
It might,
I think they might share something
Yeah.
privately.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Whether
no,
it-
no, no, no. Yeah, but do you have exit interviews?
no, we
I
have
mean,
not done
I
exit
I
interviews.
think it would be worth asking. I mean, and again, keeping it private,
Sure.
but just to, I mean, you have had the relationship with them opening. I think it's very appropriate for you to have a conversation with them about closing and I mean, we do that as a business with our employees, like why,
Sure.
and whether they tell us the truth or not.
Right.
But at least we're asking.
Right, exactly.
So I think, I mean, this isn't something that we're voting on today, our priorities list. I think it's just great fodder for when we get together again later in the fall.
Yeah, well,
Meeting schedule for 2026. We're through a little bit of this already. I'll just say that the November 20th workshop, I'm not available. I'll be out of the state on family vacation.
Same.
okay, we might look at that, see if we can,
Yeah.
maybe, how is the second week of November?
I'm gone like 2 weeks in November from the 7th to the 21st.
Okay,
I leave the 15th.
The 6th.
The following.
okay, November 6th, or is it maybe,
Do you want to look at these beginning of December?
yeah, we have a regular December meeting, we could do a longer meeting in December, but I think that can be hard
That's
for
hard.
folks.
It's
Um,
nice
but
to be able to dedicate the time.
what's the next, after Thanksgiving, what's the next?
That's December the 4th. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
And then we have the 18th meetings.
but then
we could do December 4th and then
just
still
do
do,
back to back.
yeah,
And then the 18th is our regular meeting.
yeah.
Is that right?
Would the 4th be the afternoon meeting?
I think we try to do does that make sense to everyone, do it in the afternoon?
works better.
Okay, all right,
And I will check at Pepper
Like-
Shores.
Late, like 3 or 4?
yeah,
Oh,
okay,
if we could do 3.
3, okay.
Anybody else see conflicts or concerns, especially with the sort of short-term schedule? Thank you for sorting that out so quickly. I don't think we need a vote on that either, correct?
No.
Okay, great. I don't see anyone on the screen, but we should open the opportunity for public comment if there's any members of the public present.
No.
Seeing none? Amazing. Okay, I would love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
And we'll see everybody in about a month at the Black Pony.
Yes.
Watch your